Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Superman. So, before I get to the rest of the review, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, MoviePass. So MoviePass is back and it's better than ever. It's a subscription-based ticketing service, and I've been using it for a few months now, and I just think it's great. And they have this neat new black card, and it feels great, and it's very easy to use. And unlike your AMC A-List or your Regal Unlimited, you can use MoviePass at almost any theater, and it is very simple to use. They now go off of a points-based system, so you pay every month, and that will vary depending on the market that you live in, and you'll get a certain amount of points to use for movies. And the price in terms of points for the movies varies depending on the day of the week that you go to the theater, the time of the showing, and how recently the movie has been released. So what you'll do is you'll go into the app, you'll click the movie that you want to see, unlock the card, and then pay. You can also pick the online option for just a few more points if you don't want to wait in line. So again, thank you to MoviePass. So Superman is a superhero action film written and directed by James Gunn, starring David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, Edi Gathegi, Nathan Fillion, Isabela Merced, and many other names. And it follows Superman as he is doing his best to be a great superhero, a great role model, save the day, but he's continually antagonized by Lex Luthor. And now this movie is basically a day in the life of Superman, and this is a part of the new DCU, which is a complete reboot. The Warner Brothers is starting from fresh with a brand new continuity. Kind of, you got 90% of what happened in The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker will carry over, and maybe a few more things from that universe, but it is pretty much new. Like, David Corenswet's a new Superman, there's no more Henry Cavill, there's no more Ben Affleck's Batman, no more Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, mostly brand new characters. John Cena will continue as Peacemaker, and so on and so forth. So, to start with what I liked about this film, I enjoyed the casting. I think James Gunn did a great job casting this movie. David Corenswet looks good as Superman. Rachel Brosnahan, who was my pick as Lois Lane, I was so glad when she got that role. Edi Gathegi looks like a good Mr. Terrific. Nicholas Hoult, who was also in the running Superman, looks like a great Lex Luthor. Everybody who is cast in this movie looks the part, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed some of the imagery we get in this movie. There's this great scene after Superman saves this woman and he's rising up out of like the dust cloud of a destroyed building. You just get to see him floating there with his emblem. That is a great scene, very reminiscent of when Henry Cavill Superman was kind of floating over that flooded area and the people are looking up to him like he's some kind of a god type person. I love that imagery. I loved the comic bookiness of it. There are a lot of deep cuts for those who are really into the Superman comics. I also like the lore about his glasses being hypno glasses, so that's how nobody knows who he is. That was great as well. And that is probably where, my likes end. And I really wanted to enjoy this movie. I really wanted to feel like, the DCU is in good hands and is moving forward great. And I still kind of do. It's just this movie didn't really do it for me. Walking out of the theater, I had the same feeling I had when I walked out of The Force Awakens, and that movie should have been better than I thought it was. And to really sum it up, it feels like a Saturday morning Superman cartoon. That's exactly what this feels like, but not in a good way. And it felt very sloppy to me. It was a very messy film. There was a lot going on, but none of that. Yes, there was a lot going on, but I don't feel like it took away from this being a Superman movie. That was one of my fears going in, is that there's too many characters in this movie for it to feel like a Superman movie. This is definitely a Superman movie. It is his story through and through. He is the main star, and these other people are just in the world. But I just feel like a couple of storylines could have been cut out. You have the Lex Luthor storyline, you have the Baravia storyline, you have the whole thing going on with him and Lois. I just feel like some of that could have been cut out. And I think part of that just has to do with James Gunn's writing. Like, if this were a Guardians movie, I think it would be fantastic. But it's not. It's a Superman movie, and I don't think his writing necessarily fits the character. Some of the things Superman says and does just doesn't feel like a Superman thing to me. I think he wrote Lois Lane pretty well. Her interaction with people, that is pretty much on par for what Lois is. Guy Gardner, Wrote Guy Gardner very well. Guy Gardner is probably my favorite character out of the Justice Gang. Edi Gathegi is Mr. Terrific. He wrote him. Sometimes it really feels like Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific is a very quiet, very intelligent person. He is pretty much ahead of everybody else in terms of thoughts and what he does. There's a cool action scene with him fighting that I think highlights his abilities better than him sitting in that little floating chair thing. I hated that. And he makes like some of the things he says, like, "You brought the dog, man? Hey, we got stuff to do here." It doesn't sound like that's what Mr. Terrific would say. And I understand, it's a different continuity. It's not exactly how it was in the animated show or the comics, but it just did not feel right for me. Isabela Merced as Hawkgirl was just terrible. Terrible. Love the casting, terribly written. Her screaming, it, like I said, didn't feel like Shire Hall to me. I think this might be a different iteration of the character, but... And also Jimmy Olsen. This is a very different Jimmy Olsen, and I don't know that necessarily... Like, he wasn't bad, but like having all those women fawn over him just kind of felt out of place. And Lex Luthor, I don't know. Something about Nicholas Hoult's Lex Luthor just rubbed me the wrong way. And not like as in a villain would rub you the wrong way, just... his personality, I think, it just didn't work for me. Just something about the way that James Gunn writes these characters just didn't work. And also, some of the directing was not up to par with what I know James Gunn can do. Like, there's this one scene where Superman is racing back to the Fortress of Solitude, and like the camera's all shaky and windy, and this actually happens in a couple of other scenes too, and it just felt cheap. The CGI in some of the scenes did not feel polished or finished to the capacity of what I'm pretty sure the budget for this movie was. It almost felt rushed. And I mentioned earlier, it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. And there was this rumor going around that the original cut of the movie was like a days of the week type of thing, like Superman for all seasons. Like it would be like Monday, cut, Tuesday, cut. And you can kind of see where they cut that out of the movie. You can definitely see where the days stop. And for a world where metahumans have existed for like 300 years, when the big climax is happening in Metropolis, I think that would have been a great scene to give smaller cameos to more heroes in this world who wish to, save people, who wish to show up, those who, just so many other people I feel like could have been involved in very tiny, very blinking, some cameos. But overall, my thoughts on the movie in terms of score, I'm gonna give it a solid 6 out of 10. It is not what I wanted it to be, but I am interested in seeing where this new DCU will go. Supergirl has that small cameo that actually has me very interested in that movie, because that's a totally different take on Supergirl than we've ever seen before. But like, in watching Superman, it made me want to go watch Man of Steel again, because I just feel like that movie does a lot more with the character. While he's not as talkative or emotional, he's more stoic. I don't think David Corenswet has the stoic Superman down yet, but hopefully he will get there. I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me for this movie review. Remember, you can find the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flicksfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.